Hey, how's everybody doing? This is John with CNC Connoisseurs. Once again, I want to welcome you to this video. So, I've gotten a couple questions about the Q-tips. Q-tips is a trademark brand. Okay, now, here's what I use. I actually use regular cotton swab. Now, the important thing about Q-tips is they're a little bit more expensive, but they're also 100% cotton, pure cotton. And the shafts are actually paper, like a lollipop stick or some shit. So they're really tightly rolled paper and cotton. Now, the combustion temperature of paper and cotton is actually quite a bit higher than the combustion temperature of cannabinoid oils. So, big word for marijuana. So, what it comes down to is your marijuana concentrates, cannabis oils, will vaporize and burn at temperatures lower than this cotton and paper will burn. Which means you can take this cotton, which is clean and sterile, out of this package, and you can swab it very easily in your dome, and whatever you come out with is residue from in there or lightly singed cotton. What you're not going to get is this combusting, catching on fire or anything. Now, that being said, my nail is at 630 degrees. I have used it on a torch and nail setup. Normally, once you are done with your dab, the temperature has dropped down to the point where you can safely swab it out. If it's glowing red hot, don't swab it out. And the only reason that I use a swab to clean it out is because I cannot clean it with temperature like I do with a torch and a nail. With a standard torch and a dome, and a domeless titanium nail, you can just heat that nail up until it's red hot. And I mean glowing. Cherry red. At that point, it combusts all the material that makes the residues really solid. And once it cools down, you can take some kind of a pick. I use dental tools, dabbing tools, and you can just scrape the dome out, scrape the nail out and clean all that material out of there. The thing is, with an e-nail, you can't really get that thing up that hot. With all the equipment here, something could be damaged. Plus, you don't dab that hot to begin with. So, it's a little harder. There's no real way to clean the nail in between dabs other than Q-tipping. Alcohol, anything like that. That will combust at 630 degrees and you'll have a fireball in your hands. So, I don't recommend anything like that. These are just clean, dry Q-tips. And the nail itself, I'll bring you over and I'll show you a close-up of what the inside of the titanium looks like. But we're going to be doing a dab of this. Burmese Kush from Altus Extracts. Great company. They make a real good product. They also do a real good flavor profile on their package. But I'll show you what I'm dabbing on. I'll dab. I'll swab. I'll dab and swab again, and you can see the process, and that's basically what it comes down to. It keeps the nail fresh and clean. Everybody dabs on nasty shit. Sometimes you get wax and it just leaves a little residue, some black shit in there. You want to get it out, you kind of use your dab tool and dig at it, kind of dig it out of there. Or you just let it burn and it fits in one of the corners there and just you taste that shit every single time you do a dab. Well, that's unacceptable. Q-tip, just swab right out, comes right out. It's got two ends. You can use it twice. If nothing hardly comes out, you can use it 3 times. Once it turns into a fuzzball, I like to throw it away and use a new one. But let me give you a close-up, and we'll get it on. So first things first, here's Altus. Lemon, grapefruit, earthy. The different shades are the different tones of flavor. It's way earthy, has a light citrus grapefruit flavor. It's got a pretty nice terp rating. This is actually a pretty good product from these guys. I like mostly what they've got going on for the most part. So here is a little bit of the product. You can see it's got a real pretty color to it. It's got a real neat consistency. Oh yeah, there we go. That's just a pretty color. That's basically all you're going to see is the color. I did a thing on Instagram where I scooped a dab out and you can kind of see the consistency. But with only 2 hands, I can only dab. And it actually has a more crystalline structure. It looks quite a bit more oily than it is. It's kind of like a cookie dough more so than anything else. Like I said, you need a lot of the oils for the terpenes. That's where a lot of them hang out at. Whenever you get into the really crystalline structure, you lose some of the flavors. Again, this is just my opinion. Now, my e-nail. So as you can see, it's just gray. There's a little bit of residue in some of the corners that you can see there. The reason for the Q-tip is try to minimize that. Plus, any burn off that you get, sometimes you don't do such a big dab, and you overgauge yourself and get too big of a dab. It just boils away in there. It gets kind of a burnt, nasty flavor, and that will continue for a couple dabs whenever you do that. And this eliminates that completely. So here we go. A little bit of Burmese Kush from Altus Farms. Cheers. Thanks to the guys over at Mini Nail too. This thing here really lets you get the flavor. Whenever you get something with terps like this, you need to be able to taste it instead of just burn through it. And an e-nail really allows you to do that. Cheers. Alright, you need to take a little Q-tip because there's a little bit of residue in the outside seam of the nail. You swizzle it and that's what you come off with. Now, as you can see, there's that ring right around the edge. That's right in the seam where the hottest titanium holds the most heat, and it burns the hottest basically. Now swab it again, and you can see there's almost nothing there. That was the first time, that was the second time. Now we have a clean nail. I'm going to do another dab here. I'm going to let it sit on there and you can see basically what happens a little bit. Get a nice dab here. A little big. Not even sure I'll be able to do it all, but you know, we all get a little ballsy and we just throw a dab in there. Cheers. Oh yeah, that was a good one. See, there's not really enough oil in there to get a dab or anything off of that. You can try to hit it again if there's too much. But that just tastes bad. And now, whatever's burning off on there, that you can probably see, there's smoke. Now, not only is it just wasting, but not only is it wasting, but it's burning and carbonizing. getting all the bad terpenes burnt out so that it kind of gets just a burnt hair or a burnt dirt type flavor. See, it's still smoking. It doesn't even smell good anymore because it's gotten to that point. So now you take a Q-tip, and you remember the first one. Now on this one, as you can see, it didn't absorb some of the lighter brown residue. It actually, most of the residue turned black and carbonized and actually accumulated all the way throughout. So basically, if you've got 3 or 4 different kinds of oil, I like indicas, my wife likes sativas. I dab a nice indica dab. You've got to let all that burn off and everything. If it's a heavy skunk, before you do like a nice light super lemon haze, you just won't. You'll get a different flavor. You'll overpower it, you know. And if you do some bad dabs with a bunch of shit in there, hey, not everyone's perfect. Even from the store, you get bad dabs sometimes. There's really no way to clean down without tearing the whole system down. Whereas with this, as long as it's real cotton, you can swab it out real fast, and you're good to go. Now, one more time, these are 100% cotton, and the shafts are made out of paper. Cheap or other brands, some Q-tip brands even, have a plastic shaft, and they can have a composite or man-made material as a swab. Do not use those. They can melt. Do not ever be inhaling through the rig when you are swabbing it. And as always, be careful touching this fucking part. It's hot. Well, that's about it. That's why I use Q-tip. You guys have a good day. I do appreciate it. Thanks you for coming. Hope to speak to you next time.